Happy for me to go and have a look in the other room?
Yes. Phew. Meanwhile, Curtis has found something else he's keen to try and sell.
You know, it's interesting. I'm watching TV at this time of the day. Usually, my mom would never, ever, growing up, my mom would never let me be watching TV at this time of the day. And it kind of brings to mind what upbringing each one of us have. I mean, some of us were groomed by our parents. Some of us were groomed by uncles, aunties. Some of us were even groomed by grandparents. Whilst there are some who were groomed by the streets, and there were some who were groomed by society. My guest on the show today is my elder sister. And she's been married for over 10 years. She has 2 children. Today I get to ask her and find out from her perspective who she really thinks is responsible for training up a child. Is it the parents? Is it the government? Is it the church? Or is it society? Or even media? Let's find out. So says, hellos to Flo Speaks.
Hello.
Okay, now I remember when you and I were speaking, we spoke about the family, the church, institution, I mean, in terms of school and all that. You know, but I want to ask you, whose responsibility do you think it is to groom the children? Do you think it is primarily the parents, or it is the church, or it is the school? Who would you say has that responsibility?
Who owns the children?
The parents.
Exactly. So primarily, it would be the parents. Who gave birth to them? Where do they live? Primarily, it should be where the child is raised, is being fed, is being nurtured. And I don't think any child is being nurtured because the church closes, right?
True.
They shut their doors.
Yeah.
So where do the kids go back to? Where do they roost?
But you know, there are some modern day parents,
Okay.
21st century parents, who believe that they are doing all they can. You know, they are trying as much as possible to get a good life for the child. So they leave their children to the school or to the church, claiming they want to give the child a better life. So they don't really spend that much time, claiming that the justification for them not spending time is because they are trying to work hard, you know, send the children to good schools.
What is good? We need to figure out what good is.
Okay.
Go back to the Garden of Eden. There were 2 trees. The tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. One is an evil tree. The other is a good tree. So which one was the good tree?
Of course, the good one
Was the tree of life.
yes.
Meaning that the evil tree is the one that was the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So why did they call it good and evil? That means there's a good that isn't really good, isn't it?
True.
So I think we need to go back and look at definitions. What do you mean by a good life?
You know, most parents, when they say they want to give their children good life, they start by education. Most parents who are affluent would tell you, "Oh, I want to send my child abroad."
I understand
to give them
you.
a very good
I understand
level
you.
of education.
Way back, I realized that every parent would one day stand before God, and you need to give account of your life as a spouse, as a mom, as a dad, as a sister, a brother, whatever it is. So I don't think at the pearly gates, let's assume there's, pearly gates over there, they're going to be asking you, so what trip did you make last summer? Where did you go to? Where did you take the kids? They're not going to ask you what kind of toys you give to them. They're going to ask you about issues of life, which has absolutely nothing to do with working harder, because everything working harder gives to you or is going to give to the child is fleeting, is vain. Those are not things that abide.
Okay, so would you say that parents who are using that as an excuse. Because I mean, I know a lot of parents who tell you.
I do too.
You know, I know about 3 to 4 parents who say they are sending their kids abroad, and they say it as of pride. But I can see the price in their eyes, like they are dying. They are barely living to send these children abroad. And I'm thinking to myself, do you have to send your child abroad for your child to have the best education? I mean, I'm not now talking about the issue of you dictating to your child what you think your child should read, because that's a different topic entirely.
Completely.
But a lot of parents seem to have this as a justification for being absent in the child's life.
Not really. I think it's just a wrong ideology, because every parent wants the best for their children. So in their eyes, that is doing the best. But evidently, if we look into the past, people have done it in the past, it hasn't worked. So you cannot keep doing the same thing and expect different results, because you won't get it. There is nothing that can take the place of parents being active and present in the lives of their children.
Good. Now that you said that, there's also the issue of roles in the family.
Okay.
Within the Nigerian sphere, there seems to be a very prevalent cultural notion that the mother is the one that really does the taking care. Daddy goes out. Everybody believes that, daddy's job is to go out and hunt and get, funds, and mommy is supposed to be at home and tend to the children. And it tends to seem like the development of the children is lopsided.
Yes.
Now, do you think that this kind of culture is healthy? For a father to be, absent in the life of a child. And when he comes in, of course, the way we grew up, once daddy is coming, everybody takes off,
I didn't grow like that.
Okay.
When my father comes home, we're happy to have him home. Maybe because we're a family of 4 girls. Girls are really close to their dad. So I don't know what happened in your case. So I really can't tell. But, of course, we all know absenteeism is not going to work. It's not going to work.
Why?
Because God made the man the head for a reason. There are things that a man should do that a woman cannot do. A man is supposed to be a cover. So what kind of cover are you? So a man is supposed to shield his family. There are different kinds of covers. If you bring nylon bag here now, not cover.
True.
If you bring chiffon, it's cover.
Yeah, it's a form of cover.
Yes. So some will cover, will probably shield you from things like rain and wind, but you can still see through like chiffon.
Yeah, exactly.
But you have other covers like tarpaulin. Strong, they're opaque.
They protect, but they can also conduct heat.
So it depends. There are different kinds of covers. But a man ideally should be a cover. He should be a priest. He should be a prophet and a king over his home. The wife is just supposed to support. So if the man is absent, how does the woman take over those 3 roles?
But it seems that our culture has permitted.
I don't think it's our culture. I think it's westernization.
No, but if you notice, in the African culture, it seems just okay for daddy to be missing. And daddy only turns up when there is a financial obligation to be fulfilled. It seems that is when daddy should, pop in. While mommy doesn't really have so much. It's changing now. You have a lot of working class women, and there's a new frontier of knowledge that, even if mommy isn't a working class, mommy should have a say beyond the kitchen and school uniforms and stuff. But there seems to be a lot of men who feel that, listen, this is how my father groomed me. My father didn't groom me to be spending time with children. My father groomed me, to go out and be a provider. So their definition of being a provider is one who has a right to be absent because he claims he is making money.
But isn't that faulty already?
Yes.
Because I don't even understand how you would have a child and not to spend time with your child?
No, they usually, because I've spoken to a few fathers.
Okay.
They don't consciously not want to be available, but it seems to be a very terrible culture. You know, they claim, if I spend too much time with the child, come on, it's not like I don't love the child, but what's the mother there for? Usually you find some fathers bringing that up as an excuse, and their definition of spending time, instead of spending quality time, like you said, some fathers believe, okay, let me take the family on a trip, on a vacation that isn't daily, maybe twice in a year. And personally, I think that if you spend that amount of time with children is not enough. Now, you are married. Would you subscribe to a man consciously leaving the responsibility of the growth of the children to you or to the school?
How can I? Of course not. It's not enjoyable. I'm not sure any woman would like to be in that position. So you begin to ask the question, where are the fathers? Who fathered the present fathers?
And if that father has no father?
He didn't have a father.
Yes. Or he had an absentee father. A father who was there but was absent because he was claiming...
So it's a vicious cycle then, because... But I also beg to differ, because sometimes when we grow up and we know that we lacked something, you really want to have that thing present when you have control. Yes. So growing up, you didn't have control. But now you're on your own. You want those things. So it's a funny kind of balance, really. Because really, I mean, it's like you were smacked really hard when you were a child. When you grow up, a lot of people don't want to smack their children.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if you had an absentee father, you want to be there for your children, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to say it's really our culture. Honestly, I don't think so. I just think that it's men being irresponsible. And I think they enjoy it. I think they enjoy it.
Why do you think they enjoy it? Is it a form of escapism from that responsibility?
That'll be part of it. And a lot of men are clueless, honestly. Completely clueless.
Why? Why do you think?
Because, I don't want to sound the way I'm going to sound, but I don't think men really take time to develop themselves. I don't think also when they're being raised, a lot of attention is put on them. There's more attention is put on the girls. You must learn how to cook. You must know how to clean.
Why? Is that a cultural or religious?
I think it's cultural. More cultural than religious.
Hold on 1 second.